graduate from Wamego, Kansas. I am currently attending Florida State University and majoring in elementary education. I want to give some thanks to some very special people in my life. First, I want to thank my mom and my dad for never accepting good enough or okay for me. Thank you to my brother and sister, Isaac and Berkeley, and all my family. Thank you to my best friend, Emma, for always being by my side, including surgery and recovery. Thank you to all my Shriners and their wives. You are incredible. Thank you to all the hospital doctors and staff who have helped me and all the ambassadors. Thank you to all the cheerleaders and staff, band members and staff, and the football players and staff. I'd like to give a special shout out to the managers, Shelby McKenzie, Eastside player, Drew Brown, and Eastside head coach, Weston Moody. You are all from my hometown. My journey to be a Shrine patient started when I was a baby. I did not know what I would be one until middle school. When I was little, my feet were somewhat out-toed, and my parents took me to pediatrics and doctors who said I would outgrow it. Unfortunately, they were wrong. As I continued to grow, my out-toe continued to get worse. But it wasn't until I played sports like basketball and volleyball that my condition really showed itself. As I got into third grade, I played on a competitive basketball team, and I wore out the inner half of the bottom of a shoe faster than the outside. By the time my team would play 4 to 5 games on the weekend, my ankles, knees, and hips would hurt so bad that we would have to ice them, and there were even times my dad carried me to the car. As my out-toeing and pain increased through 4th and 5th grade, my parents took me to various doctors, and we even had an appointment with a children's hospital in Kansas City, but unfortunately, we had a terrible experience there. We continued to receive no solutions to my condition. All we received was information about the sports I could do, and heartbreakingly, the sports I would not be able to do. To my parents, sports was the last thing on their mind. All they wanted was a life with no pain. Luckily for me, my parents didn't accept the answers we were given, and they continued to fight for me and to find answers that would give me a normal, pain-free life. As fortune would have it, we were at a basketball game, and I was in intense pain sitting in the bleachers. A doctor that my dad knew through a treatment for my brother saw us and took interest in what was going on with me. He was an orthopedic doctor in Manhattan, and he cleared a schedule for me so I could be seen right away. We went through a very long series of tests, multiple scans, more scans, and finally he was able to give us answers to what my condition was, but unfortunately no solutions. The good thing about this doctor was that he was too not going to give up for a fight for me like my parents. What the tests and scans ended up showing was my pelvis was good, my hips were good, my knees were good, and my ankles were good, but my tibias had grown twisted, causing my feet to turn outward. This outward of my feet caused my knees to buckle inward, which is what gave me so much pain in all my joints. Imagine holding a bunch of pieces of rope together in a bundle. They all look nice and straight beside each other. Now twist one end. That's what a groin of my tibias looked like once the right scan was done. Later at the Shriners Hospital, we learned that this was called tibial torsion. A quick story about my pelvis. One doctor we saw thought the issue was that my pelvis was too wide and open in the front. He suggested splitting the back of my pelvis and adding a spacer of bone to breathe. hip bones closer together. Let me tell you how happy I am that we didn't go along with that one. Okay, back to my journey. With many doctors seen and no solutions, my parents felt the place to go was Shrine Hospital, and we were working on getting me there with the doctor, and Manhattan helped us. At that time, referrals were needed, so they were working on finding someone who knew a Shriner and getting the process going. At this point, great things started to fall into place for me. We got a referral, and with the work of the doctor in Manhattan did for us, we went from no answers and no help to riding on a bullet train full of answers and solutions. We got our appointment for the Shriners Hospital, and for the first time in my life, we felt like something would be done. My first appointment at Shriners Hospital changed my life forever. I'm not even talking about what they were going to do for me physically. We will get to that in a minute. From the moment we stepped into the hospital, it was just different. Everything felt different. My parents and I had never been so humbled by the feeling of happiness and joy amongst the physical difficulties that their eyes could see. Kids with various devices and apparatuses that we didn't know what were, but what we could see was smiles, laughter, and joy, because they were being helped to a better quality of life. We knew we were exactly where we were supposed to be. Our many prayers had finally been answered. My appointment was an experience unlike any doctor visit I've ever experienced. Here's what was so different but made so much sense. Our nurse was in jeans and a hoodie. My vitals and such were taken by a doctor on an internship. And my doctor, Dr. Gordon, was wearing a sweater, slacks, and Birkenstocks. Everything they wore was to make you feel comfortable. They didn't talk at me. They sat by me and talked with me. They asked questions and listened. I had never felt so comfortable. What was even stranger was how short my appointment ended up being. Dr. Gordon had requested all the work done by the Manhattan doctor, and he had a plan so ready, and they made me feel so comfortable that I was excited to go through the pain of surgery and recovery. Dr. Gordon informed us I had tibial torsion, which I explained earlier. My procedure was cutting both my tibias 6 inches above my ankle, rotating each of my feet so they had a slight in toe, and then putting plates in to hold them in place while the bones healed. By the time of my surgery, both of my feet out-toed between 15 to 20 degrees each. If I tried to put my feet together side by side, my knees would completely overlap each other. I had both legs fixed at the same time. I spent one night in the hospital, and then I would begin the toughest part, the recovery. My recovery had me home 2 weeks before I returned to school. My dad went to school and to every class with me for a week when I went back. He made sure my friends knew how to help me out in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair for 6 weeks before my bones healed very slow, but also very strong. I moved to crutches and then eventually walking on my own. Walking on my own was the hardest part and why I needed physical therapy so much. When you spend 12 years of your life with the muscles and tendons doing their job the wrong way, it's really hard to get them to the work the right way. In short, I walked with the waddle like a penguin. Even with straightened feet, I had to learn how to properly walk a straight line and how to step forward instead of swing my feet. It took me 6 months to get out of physical therapy. The Shriners Hospital had its greatest impact on me through kids I met and how their lives were changed. We were changed. Mentally and physically and spiritually. My parents and I see life differently, and we've been changed forever. The room I was in had a girl in there who only saw her parents on the weekends. She had been there for 10 months. She was so amazingly strong. I met a guy with no hands, but he needed no help getting money from his wallet. My dad and friend Emma played hide and seek with kids in a wheelchair who had the biggest smiles. My dad played soccer with a boy and a device that was attached to his head with pulleys and weights. The cutest thing ever that we saw was a little girl who had 4 to 5 years old who was having leg extended, so she had a halo on it. She was in a dress and said, "Watch what I can do now. I have a twirly dress." She said, "I did a spin." I could go on and on with stories of amazing kids and how they've been changed forever. To finish my story, by the time I was fully recovered, the sports I had played passed me by and I was not interested in basketball or volleyball anymore. But I did take an interest in golf, which my dad loved. I was just so happy to go on walks with my dog or run on the treadmill. These were all freedoms that were so easy for everyone else. Without the Shrine Hospital giving me the ability to walk pain-free, I wouldn't have been able to be part of a team that won a state golf championship by 88 strokes right here in Emporia my senior year. To everyone here, especially the band members, cheerleaders, and football players, set your goals high, sky high, and work every day to achieve them just like we do. Set them so high that even if you don't reach them, you still reach greatness. Embrace the challenges of life. Don't shy away from them. You'll be better off in the long run when you overcome them. Smile every day, work towards your goals every day, and go live life. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I truly appreciate you all so much. Go Eagles!